I finally found them. It took me a long time. It took me, in fact, over a week. But we finally found the target demographic for Rings of Power. And it is over at the Mary Sue, where they have this. Shipping Sauron and Galadriel on Rings of Power isn't just hot. It makes for a better story. Bro, they were away from each other throughout the entirety of season 2, and when they finally met back up, nobody cared, because both of those characters have been thoroughly exposed as being ridiculous. Like Sauron, Anatar, Halbrand, whatever the hell you want to call them. He has the tactical acumen of Kamala Harris's campaign manager, and Galadriel is just one of the most insufferable characters in all of television. But hey, if you just can't go 10 seconds without needing to get your rocks off, if you being a female coomer, you can't see past the obvious perversion of one of the greatest fictional works of all time, take what you can from this, because, well, somebody's got to. I've got a perverse interest to see where this goes, so we'll just read a little bit of it. But yeah, spoilers for Rings of Power Season 2. Oh, trust me, there's nothing interesting at this, or to this at all whatsoever. All of the rings minus the one ring have been forged. Sauron knows about the rings for elves, or at least one of them. She shouldn't. Celebrimbor's dead, and the final shot was taking place at the top of a dell that happens to have a river running through it, so who gives a shit? Light and dark, good and evil, entangling with each other in a perpetual war, always makes for an interesting story, and the Rings of Power Season 2 just cast a worthy entry into this lot with its take on the relationship between Galadriel and Sauron, because we don't quite have a take on Galadriel and her husband in this stupid show, but that's right. Haladriel is a great ship, but Salandriel, okay, that's about all I can take on this one, because, yeah, this is the target audience. We found them, okay? Weird box wine enthusiasts who see two mildly attractive people, because I'm not going to say that, Morfydd Clark is ugly. She's just unremarkable. And after the show is done, either canceled or completed its quote-unquote 5-season run, nobody's gonna remember this shit. It's just gonna be another one of these disposable trash fire shows that nobody ever thinks about, that stars, yeah, just some chick. Like, before the streaming phenomenon took over, how many shows on network television would have churn every year with actors and actresses that you've never heard of before and haven't heard from since? That's the fate of Morfydd Clark. And Charlie Vickers, he was on something else. He's a 5-head Anatar over there. People will remember him. I think he was in Sons of Anarchy, right? People still remember that. He's gonna remember Rings of Power, because nobody's watching Rings of Power, because we have more ratings data, and yeah, this is more than just, a subsample when it comes to taking a look at the Samba TV numbers, which were never great to begin with, but we can once again confirm that that's a nice and easily extrapolatable, I'm not too sure if that's a term, but we'll go with it. When you see, or rather when you see the Nielsen data, yeah, pretty much follows on from that, because this is taking a far more granular look at things as opposed to the individual views on a subsection of devices. New Nielsen data reveals the Rings of Power total minutes watched declined by over 26%, as head of Amazon attempts to spin the show as a success. Yes, because stupid ass Jennifer Salke was out there saying, 55 million interactions, which, again, what in the blue hell is an interaction? Is it seeing an ad online? Is it scrolling over it on the Prime Video app or website? Is it making a video about it? Am I one of those 55 million interactions with Rings of Power Season 2? Did they count every individual video I did on it? I don't know if I made any Twitter posts on it, but is that another interaction? Like, what's your metric? Because you didn't elaborate on that at all. Let's see this Nielsen data. Data tracking firm Nielsen released a new data that shows watch time for Rings of Power Season 2. Its third week on the top 10 charts declined by over 26% as Jennifer Salke, head of Amazon MGM Studios, attempted to spin the show with a success. Oh, don't worry, guys. It's real great. Nielsen revealed via Variety that The Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power saw total minutes watched decline to 747 million for the week of September 9th through the 15th. That's a 26.7% decline from the previous week, where Nielsen reported that it had 1.019 billion minutes watched. oof. Because, yeah, well, take a look at what it's behind. The Perfect Couple, Rebel Ridge, Bluey, Family Guy. Oh my god. Just barely beat out The Secret Lives of Mormon Housewives. Brother, it barely beat out 8 episodes. 8 episodes of a reality show, a disposable reality show. And yeah, that's all 13 episodes, by the way. It's the first, 5? Meaning Nielsen hasn't even reported all of the cringe yet to come. Because episode 6 was real bad. Episode 5, prior to 7 and 8, was the low watermark, and 6 was kind of banal nonsense. But yeah, 7 with the big battle, the Siege of Eregion, with some of the dumbest tactics ever committed to screen. But guys, it was longer than Helm's Deep. That makes it better. Sauron kissing Galadriel. God, there was just so much stupidity in episode 7, which, yeah, we'll probably be a month away from seeing those numbers. And at that point in time, nobody's going to care about Rings of Power. Nobody's even going to remember that season 2 came out this year. I will, because I love watching the coverage of this stuff, and there's a couple of good channels still releasing, their episodic breakdowns. Random Film Talk, highly recommend that stuff. The dude is fantastic when it comes to breaking down this show on his own channel and on EFAP as well. Highly recommend both of those breakdowns. But it's pretty much out of the cultural zeitgeist. Like, it really wasn't there to begin with, even when the season was going. Like, nobody was talking about this show outside of just the abject cringe and a few bot accounts, and well, Patton Oswalt, like, bro, shouldn't you be buying a big enough net to make sure that your second wife doesn't spend too much time in the pool? But he's out here absurdly claiming, yes, that Rings of Power Season 2 is deeper than Season 1. Deeper in stupidity, deeper compared to Season 1, which, okay, maybe in some aspects, but still. This is like that deleted scene in Two Towers where Merry and Pippin are waiting for the Ents to deliberate, and they're talking about who's the tallest hobbit, how they're referred to one another, back in the Shire. That's what you're comparing right there. Not exactly high watermarks. This is all prefaced by orcs mourning their dead, struggle to find a home in a world, and worry about their families. It's some of the stupidest stuff, right? Because the orcs are, well, they're orcs. They're beings of evil. They're an ant-like species, hell-bent on chaos. But no, because he had Glug wife, trying to live the Glug life with a little Glugling. How during, yes, the sack of Eregion, Glug, I'm not even joking, right? Because, with Peter Jackson's trilogy, you had Lurtz, you had Gothmog, you had memorable orcs, but no, you got Glug with Rings of Power this time around, and him crying to Adar saying, "Oh, Father, I thought you loved us." It's like, bro, you're orcs. This is like going to war and then your rifle starts crying to you because there's too much mud on it. It's like, I don't care. Nobody cares. Because, yeah, there could be something there if the orcs are trying to redeem themselves. They're just trying to find a home if they aren't juxtaposed with the next scene that they're in, where they're wreaking total havoc on a Eregion. Are they firing arrows at horses? Like, bro, it doesn't make sense at all. It's stupid. No, I guess maybe, Patton Oswalt, if they're going to be recasting Tom Bombadil next season for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe if he wants to be the new leader, the stupid fat Harfoots for season 3, when eventually they go on this big pilgrimage to try to find the Shire, which is exactly what they're going to be doing going forward, as if the Harfoot and Stoor stuff this season wasn't the most insufferable part. But, okay. And Oswald, yeah, who's an idiot. Oh, I'm sorry, recently appeared in Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Wow, remember, a Ghostbusters movie came out this year. I legitimately forgot about that. Shared his thoughts on why he believes Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power Season 2 is deeper than Season 1, and specifically pointed out how the show depicts orcs. Yeah, in a post on X, he wrote, "What makes Season 2 of the Rings of Power deeper than Season 1 is seeing the orcs mourn their dead, struggle to find a home in a world, and worry about their families," he added. Makes the battle sequences more exciting and heartbreaking. They're not just faceless horde, until they're depicted as a faceless horde, and none of that quote-unquote humanity ever translates to the battle sequences, because the battle sequences are so poorly shot you can barely tell what's going on. But okay, this does not make the show deeper at all. In fact, yeah, it takes away from the prominent theme found in Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. Yeah, but that's fine, because this isn't Lord of the Rings. This is Rings of Power. This is some kind of bastardized fanfic that appeals to the likes of Patton Oswalt and the idiots over at Mary Sue who just want to ship Sauron and Galadriel, even though he was basically Anatar for the entire season, but we don't know that because we see two vaguely attractive people and we just want to see them bone. And some, yes, fat, out-of-work hack who is jonesing for a job on a show that is likely to see the end of its contractual 5 seasons. With all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I should follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.